obviously the title of the book's Greenlights. I remember seeing you at the Film Hall of Fame Awards, like 2012 maybe. You had just
Yeah.
and you gave a speech, and you mentioned how you enjoyed moving back to Austin because there were more green lights here. And I later,
Did I say that then?
yeah, I
There we
said,
go.
and I told somebody, I said, McConaughey's going to write a book someday, and it's not going to be called Just Keep Living. It's going to be called Green Lights, because this is.
You called it. There it is.
So for people that haven't read the book or haven't heard the speech, what's the metaphor?
Yeah. So like this cover. So green lights, we love green lights, right? They're freedom. They affirm our way. They say, go, proceed, attaboy, continue. We don't like yellow and red lights. They slow us down and stop us, get in our way. We can engineer green lights in our life by choices we make. Sometimes green lights just fall in our lap in good fortune. Sometimes green light can be just what your perspective is in a certain situation. Sometimes you get a green light by denying there's actually even a crisis there. No, that's false trauma. I'm not even going to give that damn thing credit. I'm not going to let it become a red or yellow light. I'm going to blow through it because it's not real. And then finally, the symbolism is about, and I found this in going through my journals, is that all the red and yellows, almost every red and yellow light I had in my life, every time I had a hardship or a crisis, it revealed itself to have green light assets or became a green light later on in life. That's what the metaphor is. It's green lights is not about making everything a green light. Green light is also about understanding how red and yellow lights, interventions, hardships, pauses, introspections we have in our life where we need to recalibrate, how that's how you engineer a red or yellow light into becoming a green light later on. Or sometimes they just reveal themselves to be green later on. I think we notice them in the moment. I think we notice them sometimes tomorrow. Sometimes we notice them next week, next year. Sometimes we're going to notice them on our deathbed. I even believe that some red and yellow lights in our life will not be revealed green until our great-great-grandkids figure out what the lesson is 2 generations from now. But it's a constant process. And I do believe that eventually all the yellows and reds will turn green.
I see it's a #1 New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, just found that out, man. It feels good. It means it's translating, and being received well. Yeah.
Is it how long you've been keeping journals, and how long you've been writing? That all started for you?
About 36 years. Started when I was like 14. Started off writing the funny things that a young teenager will write in a journal. Why did Gretchen break up with me? And why do I have pimples on my face and stuff like that, trying to figure stuff out. And then maintained it through my years. I had a big writing year in my year away in Australia because I was the only one I could actually, I was there. I was the only one I could talk to. So
that sounded like a rough year.
It was a rough year. They're probably one of my roughest years, but probably in hindsight, one of my most important years for sure as well.
Is part of the book not just to talk about your exploits and celebrate what you've done or contemplate in a public forum, but also to hopefully elicit in other people an understanding or a reaction that they see in themselves?
I hope so. I mean, look, something I found in the book that surprised me, but now when I say it, I'm like, oh, well, of course. Because it's the same way, and I think most art. The more personal I got, the more aggressively vulnerable I got, the more relatable the stuff became. And that became obvious to me while I was doing it. But it was surprising that, the more into the I go, the more into the we, this is relatably understood. That did surprise me. But then afterwards in saying it, Richard Linklater and I were talking about, we were like, well, of course. If I look back at all the work I've done of roles I've played, of what an artist does, a creation, the more personal they get, actually, the more relatable it can become. There is a difference between art and self-expression. I was not heading out here to just go, hey, if I just gave you my diary form, if you had seen this at 36 years of diaries, you'd been like, well, come on, this needs some form. I mean, there's a lot of it in there is self-expression that was brutally honest, but not relatable. So I didn't want to share anything that couldn't be true, but also not. I wanted it to have a chance to be constructive. As I said, objectively taken from somebody, but subjectively used. Like I said, no one's going to have the exact same stories that I have, but I think you'll be able to see, oh, yeah, I had a similar time in my life where I was going something like McConaughey's going through, and how did I handle that? Or Is there an asset from that time? Or how to handle things when things are going great. I've got that chapter in there, the art of running downhill. Boy, I know not just myself, I've seen other people. When things are going great, they face plant and self-sabotage in sometimes foolish ways. And I've done that. So, hopefully it is applicable. And I did notice that the more personal I got, the more relatable to more people that it became.
You talk about the science of satisfaction.
Yeah.
So, Doctor, what's the science of satisfaction?
Well, part of it is, what do we need to be satisfied? We need to have something to look forward to. In all my travels, that's the most I can understand about, at least for me, having something to look forward to, a reason to get out of bed in the morning. So green lights does not mean I just want a whole life full of nothing but green lights. Green lights involve being stopped at reds and having to slow down during yellows, and then learning a lesson in those times. If life's all nothing but green lights straight ahead, you don't get a red or yellow, it's all in it. What's it for then? It's entertainment, no more than that. And what? We're going where? Where's the evolution? Where's the growth? Where's the ascension? It's a long, flat desert, 4-dimensional. Go where you want to go. There's no form or structure to that. So in the name of evolution, we can create green lights. We can be kind to our future selves. We can tee ourselves up today. We can tee ourselves up tomorrow via our actions and choices we make today. All the way down to the simplest damn thing of putting your coffee in your coffee filter the night before. So tomorrow morning, all you got to do is press the button. That's a simple, practical green light. The next morning, how happy are you? You put the damn filter, you'd have to go search around for it. You know what I mean? It's like, I teed myself up for a little bit of ease. We can make choices in our relationships. We can make choices if we decide to go lie, cheat, and steal, which some would say, oh, that's more selfish because they get what they wanted right then. I would argue that is not selfish. Because why? Because later on, in the compounding assets of our future, everywhere we go, we got to look over our shoulder to see if that person we lied, cheated, and stole from is in the room. So now we're taking up our time. And we're stressing because, oh, geez, oh, man, he is here. I got to sneak out the back door. That's a yellow light. So by doing certain things, we can create discomfort and lack of freedom in our future. So what are the choices? It's also a balance between responsibility and freedom. The responsibility of freedom and the freedom that can come with responsibility. All in the name of that delayed gratification of teeing up more green lights for our future. And then this, we got to read between which ones of those green lights. Like if it was all green lights on the highway, as I was saying earlier, a lot of those green lights are battery powered. They're going to go out. What are these solar powered green lights that are going to burn and shine green in our future and after we are gone? And that's when I lead into, it's a great practice to go, what are they going to say at my eulogy? It's not a morose feeling. It's like, think about it. If you can't go that far in your mind, go 5 years ahead of right now. Go 10 years ahead of right now. Go interview yourself. Let your 10 years from now interview yourself now about what kind of father you're going to be and what kind of father you've been over the next 10 years. It's a cool practice. And it will actually, I've noticed, instead of being like, oh my God, I got to die, it actually makes you feel more alive and take more responsibility for yourself now in the present time. So I have found that there is a science to satisfaction. I don't have it all figured out. I say this frequently through the book. I'm not making straight A's and all this stuff. You know what I mean? I have crossed some truths that I believe to eternally be true. That does not mean I'm making straight A's at them. I'm working at them all the time, fail at some of them all the time too. But I found some consistency of where, oh, I understand why I failed. Look at that. I didn't remember that. Oh, I see why I found gratification and satisfaction in this situation. I actually followed that thing that I learned.
The last question before I cut you loose, and thanks for all the time. The book that it's time for you to quit acting like you or acting the part of you and be you. So
yep.
What's the next chapter for McConaughey look like?
Well, I think what I'm working on now, and I'm going to finish this book run here for a while. I'm really engaged in this, and it is being received to a certain extent now well. So that makes me very happy and believing that, what you put on the word is translating, which is what I want to do with any art I put out there. But I'm going to finish this, catch my breath, and have a look. But what's on my mind now And when I say that line, I want to quit acting like me and be me is, yeah, I like acting. Yeah, I'll act again. I'll play a role. I'll play some sort of myself, some side of myself in another role, probably. But what about the big show? Life, where action was called one time when you were born, and cut will be called one time when you die. The camera's always rolling. It's happening. It's live. Quit acting like one and just be one. McConaughey. That's what I tell myself, you know. So what is my role going to be in whatever, you know, I'm interested in different leadership roles right now. I'm not really interested in politics, to use a line from Roy Spence, because I don't see the purpose in the politics right now. This minister of culture work may be a slipstream where it's between partisan sides and it's between denominations, and something that we can all agree on, solid stepping stones of our values with which to step forward. And something that particularly I think we're going to need coming out of this time, where we have great distrust in each other and even ourselves, where we lack belief in each other and ourselves, where our social contracts have been stripped with each other and we are now even stripping them with ourselves. The values that I'm for are not rocket science. There's things our mamas taught us, you know what I mean, that we can be reminded of to say, hey, I need a solid stepping stone to move forward. And if I do that for myself and look in the mirror and say, how can I be a little bit better? And you do that for yourself, that's how we start to make a collective change. Not a systemic, broad, legislative thing off the bat, but start with the person in the mirror. And if enough of us do that, then we have a collective change. Then we are a bright light on the map of the globe called the Earth.
I appreciate it.
Enjoyed it as always.
Congrats on the book.
Hey, thank you very much.
We'll see you around.
All right now.